Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to take a minute and actually take a look at quite a few of my dino scores that I've had over the past few months. Basically what I say is my dino scores are different dinosaurs that I was able to add to my collection for a decent price, just kind of finding them online or out in the wild somewhere. And I thought they were cool enough to get a mention here on the channel. So without further ado, the first ones I'm going to bring in are these two. These two are Dino Rider figures, and they don't want to stand. But these two are two Dino Riders figures. I don't have too many of these in my collection, but I saw these going for a really cheap price, and I figured I would definitely take a leap and go ahead and purchase them to add to my collection. You've got the Styracosaurus over here, which you can actually see has some damage done to it. Some of the horns are chipped off of it, and I actually already have the Styracosaurus previously, so I don't really mind that. I actually only purchased this set because I wanted this one, which I believe is the Deinonychus, and I always really kind of wanted that figure. I don't really know why, as it's probably not the most appealing Deinonychus figure out there, but something about it is just really cool. I always wanted to add it to my collection, and I saw this going for like $5 for both, so I saw this as an opportunity to finally add the Deinonychus to my collection, and I'm super psyched that I did. Really cool looking figure. I definitely quite like it. Again, not the most detailed or scientifically accurate Deinonychus you're ever going to find, that's for sure, but he's definitely a really cool figure and a great part of dinosaur figure history, as is this very cool Styracosaurus, even though, like I said, I already have him, but I'll take another even if he has some chipped horns. Then I was able to acquire these guys here, which you've got a Disney's Dinosaur Iguanodon, a Brachiosaurus from the JP3 toy line, and a Velociraptor from the JP3 toy line that does not want to stand either. But you can see them all here. Really cool figures. I really basically bought the lot, and I don't really recall how much it was for, but I do believe it was pretty cheap. But I basically bought it for the Brachiosaurus, as I did not have the JP3 Brachiosaurus. I always really did want to get a hold of it, but unfortunately never had the opportunity to. I do already have the Velociraptor and the Iguanodon. The Iguanodon is actually in pretty poor shape. You can see if I pick it up here, it has a chip on the tail. But again, this was just kind of an extra that was thrown in. I didn't really care about that figure as I do already have it, so I don't mind the chip in the tail. This Velociraptor is actually in really nice shape for the most part. There's a few chips of paint on it here and there, but not too much going on. And the Brachiosaurus also has kind of a few paint scuffs here and there, but nothing major. I'm not one of those people that need to have every figure from every line in the box or anything. As long as I've got them in some way, shape, or form or another, I'm pretty darn happy. So really psyched to add the Brachiosaurus to my collection. Again, it's a figure I've really wanted for a long time, and it's really quite nice actually. Definitely has a very beautiful appearance. I think the JP3 toy line gets kind of looked over a lot, and a lot of people dislike it, and I don't know why. I mean, you've got some holes here and there on the figure. Nothing major, but I really do quite like it, as I also like this Velociraptor. Again, it's not the best figure ever, but I think the JP3 toy line is a bit underappreciated, honestly, especially in comparison to what Hasbro did with the Jurassic World line. But still, really cool figures. The Iguanodons is probably the worst of the bunch, but even the Iguanodon is a decent figure. Then I actually got some very cool National Geographic Wildlife WOW figures that I was really psyched to get a hold of, because I've been wanting to get a hold of more of these ever since I purchased their Carnotaurus, but was unable to really acquire them as they're kind of hit or miss on Amazon. Some days they're in stock, other days they're not in stock, and then some days they're like $20 and other days they're way more than that, so it's really kind of a pain trying to get a hold of them. I know Hobby Lobby has them in stock more often than not, but I don't really have a Hobby Lobby too close to me. But I was really psyched to see someone on the Facebook Marketplace selling a few of these, and I was able to acquire this one here, which is obviously the Velociraptor. Looks really cool and is also in quite nice shape for the most part. There's again some few paint chips here and there, but nothing major that I would frown upon. And I was also able to acquire the Allosaurus in the lot. However, this is probably the one that is in the worst shape. You can see it's missing its tail, which is definitely a downside. It's unfortunate, but at least I have the figure regardless. I'm still psyched to have it. And if I can acquire another one in better shape than this, then I'll probably just repaint this one or something. And I also got not one, but two of their Tyrannosaurus Rex figures. So I was really psyched to get a hold of this figure here, and I actually paid about $11, I think, for all of them. So it was a great deal because, like I said, each figure is like $20 to $30 a piece normally. So just for these two alone, that's about $40 or $60 depending on what price they're going for on what day. So that was a great deal. Regardless, I was super excited to get a hold of these and add them to my collection for sure. Definitely really cool looking Rex figures. Then I also found this. I don't have a clue who makes this, but it's a really interesting looking baby Velociraptor figure, and I've actually been contemplating repainting it aside from the eye, because I think the eye looks really nice as far as the paint they've used, but the overall body paint just doesn't really have too much going on. It's just kind of a grayish color with a few spots and nice dry brushing. It does bring out the detail quite nicely on the figure, and it overall is quite appealing for sure, but I've been considering repainting it maybe to have a Jurassic Park style Velociraptor look or something like that. I just haven't really decided, but I also absolutely know nothing about this figure, so if any of you out there have any leads as to who makes this figure, where its origins are from, please let me know in the comments, because I would really love to know more about this figure. But I saw it on eBay going up for auction. I thought it looked really cool, so I took a chance bid on it and won it, and again for like, I think it was like $15 or something. So, in my opinion, it was a pretty good price for this because it's a really nice looking figure in person for sure. Then we got some more Kenner Jurassic Park figures. We've got a Velociraptor, we've got about my 6,000th Dimetrodon, because for some reason these are like the most popular figures ever when it comes to the Kenner line. And I also got this, a young T-Rex, and I actually love this figure because this is actually like my third or fourth of this Rex specifically, but this one is in such great shape. It's really beautifully maintained as far as making sure that nothing really got screwed up on it or anything, aside from, like, you can see the stomach has kind of a little gap there, but I think that's just kind of something that happened to pretty much all of them. Every one that I've ever found, including the one I owned when I was younger, always had that slight gap in the stomach region, but this one is in really good shape. The only thing I was really mad about, I actually paid like $12 I think for all three of these, so it was a great deal regardless. But I was bummed because in the images on the listing it actually had the battle damage cover, and then when they shipped it to me, the battle damage cover was not there. I complained to the person, they never sent it to me, they claim they don't know what happened to it, so I ended up missing out on the battle damage cover. But it wasn't too big of a deal just because it's still an incredibly good deal for all of these figures. All three are fantastic Kenner figures. So it's awesome to add another one to my collection, and especially because this one's in probably the best shape out of all the young Rex figures I have, so I was okay with it regardless. Then the next two are figures that, unless you are probably around my age or older, you may never have even heard of, or would even probably care about, but me personally, I really love them. This is the HG Toys Brontosaurus and the HG Toys Tyrannosaurus Rex, which I now have to come out a little bit so you guys can see them, but there you go, you can definitely see them now. Really awesome, very vintage, old school figures. I actually had the Rex when I was younger, and I always loved it. It always had such a really cool vintage feel, absolutely perfectly portraying what Tyrannosaurus Rex looked like pretty much when I was a kid, so I always had an incredibly huge soft spot for this figure, and also pretty much the Brontosaurus, although I never actually had the Brontosaurus, so I was really excited to add the Brontosaurus to my collection. I've always wanted to re-add this Tyrannosaurus to my collection because as a kid we played with it pretty rough, myself and my brothers, and unfortunately it did eventually break, so I've always kind of wanted to get a hold of it again, but never took a chance on buying one until recently when I saw the both of them in an auction again on eBay. So you can tell I spent a lot of time on eBay looking up dinosaur figures, but I was really psyched to find both of these for one good price, and I scooped them up right away. The Rex is awesome, even though I would say it's more of an Allosaurus, honestly. I know they say it's a Rex, but it's got 3 claws here on the hands, so I used to always consider it an Allosaurus as opposed to a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and again, that's still kind of the feeling I get today, even though the sculpt is obviously more Rex-like, aside from the hands. But again, it was marketed as a T-Rex, so I guess back then scientific accuracy was clearly not a thing, and we didn't really care about that type of stuff. But I still love it today just as much as I loved it back then. 2 absolutely awesome figures that I was so psyched to add to my collection once again. Then I have 3 figures that I've never actually owned any of in my entire life. I've never added them to my collection, never actually got around to purchasing any of them, and now they are very hard to find, so you don't see them going up for sale too often, and the ones that you do see up for sale are usually pretty expensive. But you can see here we've got a Mega Raptor, I believe is which one that one is. We've also got a Shantungosaurus, and we also have what I believe is a Yankshuanosaurus, but again, I could be wrong on all of the species. I think I'm right on the majority of them, but I'm not entirely sure, especially about this Yankshuanosaurus, as I couldn't really find too much about it. But these are the Dinosaur King toys from Sega, and they are really cool looking, and I only recently started to really get into checking them out, as I kind of always just blew them off for some reason. But I recently started to see images of quite a few different ones, and started to really kind of appreciate them. They're actually not bad looking figures at all, and considering the wide array of species that they have included in the line, I definitely drew a quick interest in them once I actually started to acknowledge their existence. And now that I've gotten these three, I kind of want more of them, because they're actually really quite nice looking figures. And again, figures like a Shantungosaurus and everything is awesome. You just don't see figures like this too often in the dinosaur toy community, so I was really psyched to see them here made by this company. They actually have a Carnotaurus as well, which, you know me, I'm going to have to try to search that one out at some point. But I thought that all three of these figures were really awesome overall, and I was definitely very impressed when I got them and took them out of the box and actually got a chance to look at them in person. Really, really cool looking figures. I think I paid like 30 bucks for all three of these, which is probably a little more than I like to pay normally when I'm getting these good dino deals. But considering the rarity of these figures, I was okay with it and jumped on it right away, because 30 bucks for all three of these really is a pretty darn good deal. So again, really awesome figures. So psyched to start finally adding some of these to my collection as well. Then I recently hit up a local thrift shop and found some really cool figures all packed away in a bag, and some are not the greatest figures ever, that's for sure, but others are pretty cool. And I actually also acquired a Definitely Dinosaurs Brontosaurus this same day, but unfortunately I think I put that one in storage already. I tried to locate it to put in this video, but I'll just include this picture so you know what it looks like. Really cool figure. I never had this one when I was younger. I had a lot of the Definitely Dinosaurs figures, but this was one that always kind of eluded myself and my parents when we were looking for it, so I was psyched to add that one to my collection as an adult now, kind of making my Definitely Dinosaurs collection come full circle. But they also had this, which is a Safari Ltd Great White Shark. So I was pretty excited to see that included in the bag. There was also this really cool looking Oranosaurus figure, which I've never seen before, but I was pretty excited to see it in there, because again, anytime I can discover a new figure that I've never seen previously, it's definitely a really good thing. And I was psyched to see this guy, because it's just something that's very old school, very vintage, something that I would automatically adore just due to the very vintage look. We also got this baby hippopotamus, which I don't have a clue who makes. It's a very cool looking figure though, but he was just another little addition that was in there, along with this crocodile that was also in there. Another very cool little thing that was thrown in there. But we also got this little Stegosaurus, which is not really that great of a figure, but I figured I'd show you guys regardless. But then we also have this nice Safari Ltd baby Triceratops. So this one is actually in really quite nice shape. I don't remember if I have this one previously or not, but I wasn't going to take a chance and miss out on it, as I paid like 3 bucks for the entire bag. There were actually more figures than this, and even more dinosaur figures, but some of them were just pretty goofy and I didn't really care too much for, so I gave them to my kids because they like pretty much everything that's dinosaur related. And then I also found this in the bag as well, which I believe is a glow-in-the-dark Safari Ltd Velociraptor. I love the sculpt of this. I've stated this numerous times every time I've received one of these in my previous Dino Score videos, but I've never found this one. I've actually never seen this one at all, so when I saw it in the package, I was pretty blown away by it. So it was another figure that I was instantly wanting to add to my collection, and luckily I found it for really, really cheap at a local thrift shop. And the final figure is this. This is a Toyway Walking with Dinosaurs Ankylosaurus. If you've been following my channel for a little while now, you'll know that I've been slowly acquiring the old Toyway Walking with Dinosaurs figures one by one. They're very hard to find anymore, very rare. So it takes me quite a while to actually come up with each figure. This is, I think, the 4th now in my collection, as I also have the Allosaurus, Utah Raptor, and Polacanthus, I believe. And this one's really nice. An absolutely beautiful looking sculpt. Once again, these Walking with Dinosaurs figures are so ahead of their time. Look how fantastic that looks. Really beautiful figure for sure. Overall, I love everything about it. It also really nicely resembles the dinosaur from the film, the Walking with Dinosaurs documentary. So another absolutely awesome addition to my collection. I was so psyched about each and every one of the figures that I showed you guys in this video that I've had the pleasure of adding to my collection. So if you want to see reviews on any of the figures that you saw in this video, make sure you let me know in the comment section down below, and I will do my best to get those reviews up at some point in the very near future for anyone that is in fact interested. So make sure you comment which videos you would like to see, which reviews you would like to see, and make sure you also hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified of any future videos, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.